Hello and welcome to another purveyor of light, Lightroom quick tip. Today we're going to have a fun one, actually a really creative one. We're going to be covering high-key wildlife photography, and that's really something that you don't see much of, and it's something I've been exploring recently, and I found it a very creative way of working with wildlife photography that you don't see that often, and therefore it makes it very unique. So basically the first thing I'll need to cover up here is what high key photography is, and that's just basically an image that is, quite bright, very light, very airy, not a lot of detail. A lot of people first off mistake high key photos for being overexposed, and that's not true. Okay. A high key image is one with just a minimum tonal range. Okay. And just like this one here of a model, I think we have seen shots like this before. This is a high key portrait. Okay. And you can see that it is not overexposed. It's just exposed into the high key fashion. Okay. But the detail is still there. Okay. It's just a restricted tonal range. Okay. And that's what high key is. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to take ordinary photos. Okay. Ordinary wildlife photos. Just about any photo will work. And using just a few steps, you're going to be able to convert them into a high key image. And so I'm putting up here, this is the formula. Okay, and you're going to find out that this is all it is. If you can memorize these steps, you can high key just about anything. Okay, so we're going to work with the contrast. We're going to max it out. Highlights. We're going to reduce the highlights. The shadow. We're going to increase the shadows. We're going to increase the whites. And we're going to darken the blacks. And then we're going to put a medium to heavy tone curve for the maximum contrast. That's the whole formula. So if you remember this, you're golden. All right, so let's just jump right in. We'll go in here to the grid. And I've got some wildlife photos here. And we'll just turn around and take one and work the formula. Okay, so here we'll go into the develop module. And you could see it's a good photo, but I think we can make it a lot more interesting by taking it to a high key. So how do we do that? Well, we just use the formula. We work it from the top. We take contrast, throw it all the way over. You can see what a difference that makes in the image. Next, highlights. Highlights, we're going to turn around and take it all the way down. We're going to go shadows. We're going to pump up the shadows. We're going to take the shadows out. Okay. Now, then we're going to take the whites and we're going to take the whites out and blow them in. And then the blacks, we're going to make them dark. Okay. Then we're going to turn around and take maybe some texture, move it in, and maybe some clarity. Move the tone curve to a strong contrast, and that's the processing we have. Okay, now that's the processing. All right, so now I'm going to show you here how we complete the process. We need to convert it to black and white, because again, we want to remove the color because the color is a distraction. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to reset here, and I'm just going to start over here. So go into your preset section and go in. Everybody has this. This is not something special. Just go into the plain black and white area. All right. And these are the ones that come with Lightroom. All right. And I'm going to choose black and white punch. And that's going to be our starting point. Okay. So now we just work the formula. What do we do with the contrast? All the way over. Highlights? All the way over. Shadows? All the way over. Whites? All the way over. Blacks? All the way over. Texture? clarity, and strong tone curve. And there we go. So you have the before and the after, and now we have a high key image. And it's just that easy. And you follow the same process for whatever image you have. So let's go ahead and do another one real quick. I'll take this elephant here. And we will go into develop. And I'll take the first preset, the black and white punch. Make that as the default. And now I follow the formula. I take the contrast all the way over. Take the highlights all the way over the other way. Shadows all the way the other way. Whites all the way, and the blacks all the way. You see how we're bringing the image back in? The texture. We can bring the texture all the way up. We can bring the clarity all the way up. And bring up the curve, a strong curve. And there we go. Now we have a high contrast, high key image. And if there's anything you dislike in the image, because maybe there was just a lot of going on in the background, you can easily just take care of that with the healing brush. Just take your healing brush here and, just remove what you want that you find distracting, okay? I can take the zebra out of here completely. And boom, there we go. A little bit there, a little bit there. And you can do this as much or as little as you want. But there you go. There's your high key, high contrast image. And that's all there is to this. Okay? So if you remember the formula, you could take absolutely any image. It doesn't matter. You could pick any image you wish. Pick the zebra. Okay? Develop. High black and white punch. And then work the image as fast as humanly possible using the exact same formula that we have done for everything. Bring some contrast back in. And now we have a high key image. Okay? And you can always do some adjustments. If you find you don't like something, you can always say, all right, let me bring in some darkness here in the highlights, or maybe I want to bring some of the shadows back in. You can most certainly do fine adjustments. But that's the basic concept. Okay? So that's it. So I want you to go ahead and take some of your photos and work them to this high contrast and see what the results are. I think you're going to be very pleased, because you're going to find that these images are very, very interesting and different. And that's the whole point of a process, is to be creative, right? To be different. Make your photos stand out. And so that's it. I'm going to leave you now with a sample of images that I reworked in the high key fashion for wildlife. And you enjoy that. And until next week, you guys take care.